So, about a month ago, I did a BBC in which I read a letter that I wrote to my 22-year-old self, who was newly ordained and doing her very first retreat, a 3-month Vajrasattva retreat at Kopan Monastery in Nepal, and was having a lot of difficulties. So, in the letter, I offered some advice based on having many more years of experience in doing retreats. And at the end of the letter, I said, I will write again soon. So, as promised, here is another letter. Dear 22-year-old Sangye Kadro, hello, it's me again, your older, wiser self, writing to give you some tips on doing retreat. I can see that you are still trying your best to be a good meditator and doing everything perfectly, but that you're still having a hard time and still beating yourself up for your mistakes and your failure to practice perfectly as the Lamas taught. But it's okay, because it's not easy to change old habits. And this is a habit you have had, or we have had, for a very long time. So it will take time to change it. Not just a few days or months, but years. So don't let this become another reason to beat yourself up. You know, beating yourself up for beating yourself up, that doesn't make any sense. Endless regress, as they say in the And it's really important to rejoice in your effort. Just the fact that you are continuing to stay in retreat in spite of all these difficulties. Some people would run away screaming. Maybe that's a slight exaggeration, but it does happen. And I came across something in a book that might be helpful. The book is called The Attention Revolution by Alan Wallace. And it's all about how to develop shamatha, or calm abiding, serenity. And in one section of the book, he has some advice from a 19th century Dzogchen master named Dudjom Lingpa about what to do when difficult stuff comes up in the mind during retreat. And this master, Dudjom Lingpa, gives examples, a long list of examples of kind of things that might come up in your mind. Although Alan says, everyone's experiences will be different. So, what one person experiences might not be experienced by somebody else. But just to give an example, just to give some examples of some of these things that could arise. The impression that all your thoughts are wreaking havoc in your body and mind, like boulders rolling down a steep mountain, crushing everything in their path. Ever had that one? A sharp pain in your heart as a result of all your thoughts, as if you had been pierced with the tip of a sword. Unbearable anger due to the paranoia of thinking that everyone else is gossiping about you or putting you down. Such unbearable misery that you think your heart will burst. Insomnia or fitful sleep. Grief and disorientation when you wake up, and so on. There's a long list of these experiences, which most of them are kind of, disturbing and even frightening. But a few of them sound kind of nice. For example, the perception of all phenomena as brilliant colored particles. That sounds pretty cool. A sense of ecstasy, as if a stormy sky had become free of clouds. Wow. So Alan Wallace says that many of us, if we had such experiences, might stop practicing and maybe even seek medical help. However, Dudjom Lingpa says that these are signs of progress. And Alan says it is a sign of progress when you recognize how cluttered and turbulent your mind is. And the deeper you go in the mind, the more you will encounter all kinds of unexpected and even troubling memories and impulses. Of course, sometimes they may be so disturbing that one might need psychological counseling or medical treatment. But Dudjom Lingpa's advice is to just keep practicing and observing whatever comes up without distraction or grasping. And I have heard similar advice from other teachers and other traditions. So from this you can see that you are not the only one who has difficulties during retreat. Difficult material coming up in the mind. Even great Tibetan meditators have them. And not only that, but it's considered a sign of progress. It's not a bad thing you should beat yourself up about, but it's a good thing. So you shouldn't feel bad. Of course, it can be hard to follow the advice given here. Just watch it and let it go. But there are some other methods that you might find easier to use, like impermanence, our old friend impermanence, just remembering that whatever there is coming and going and not permanent. And also don't identify, don't think this is me and therefore I am bad, but it's just passing material in the mind that comes and goes and isn't who we are. And also that you're not alone. You're not the only person who has this kind of thing happening in their mind. Other people do as well, and have compassion for them. So that's really, really helpful if you can do that. And then if you can't deal with it on your own, talk to others, more experienced practitioners. So keep these things in mind. And once again, I wish and hope that your retreat will go well. Take it easy. Be kind to yourself. And don't take the stuff in your mind so seriously. Older, wiser Sangye Kadro. So the book doesn't mention why this stuff comes up. But my guess is that, given Buddhism says our mind is beginningless, it's been around forever and ever and ever. And that really means forever and ever and ever. And we've had so many lifetimes. And in those lifetimes, we haven't always been good boys and girls. We've done all kinds of stuff, every possible experience, every possible activity, we've done it. So having done those things before in past lives, they leave impressions, imprints in the mind. And then when we're meditating, meditation, I kind of think of the mind as being like an ocean, very, very, very deep. And when we're meditating, it's like going in one of those, what are those things called? Bathyspheres, or, anyway, those things you get inside and you go down and explore the ocean all the way down to the bottom, where there's all kinds of strange creatures that nobody ever usually sees. So meditation is a bit like that. It's like we're going deeper and deeper and deeper into our mind and seeing things we've never seen before. And, it's not all going to be pretty, beautiful, wonderful stuff. So it's just natural. It's part of the process. And so I've had lots of this stuff coming up in my mind during retreats. And after one particularly difficult retreat, I was talking with a friend, a Western monk who has teachers both in the Gelug tradition and the Nyingma Dzogchen tradition. And I was telling him about some of the difficulties that I'd had during retreat. And he got really excited. And he said, wow, that's what's supposed to happen in retreat? But that never happens to me. I never have those experiences. He almost sounded like envious, which is like, well, yeah, but when this stuff happens, it's actually not so easy. So, and that's still the case even now when I have kind of unwanted and unpleasant material coming up in my mind. My initial reaction is to say, oh, go away. I don't want this. I want bliss and all the beautiful experiences. I don't want these scary, disturbing things. So it's quite hard to change that attitude and do what Dudjom Lingpa recommends, is to just observe it and let it go. And so there's a distinction between letting go and trying to push it away. Okay, so we have to recognize that. Trying to push it away usually involves some aversion, fear, yeah, I don't like this. Whereas letting go involves equanimity, an attitude of equanimity, which is neither liking it nor disliking it, but just seeing it as phenomena arising from causes and conditions. And then thinking, okay, that's there, but I don't have to hold on to it, identify with it. I don't have to react to it or get obsessed about it. So this is not easy, but it's something we can learn to do over time. And then, yeah, just let it go and return to your meditation or your mantra or whatever you're doing. But I think the important thing is to understand it's not bad. It's not weird. It's not like, you're ready to go off to the mental hospital. It's normal and even a good thing because it means your mind's getting cleared out, cleaned out. So anyway, I wanted to share this with all of you in case any of you ever have such experiences. And even if you haven't had them up to now, it could happen in the future. So be prepared. And I really wish I had heard this advice way back then when I first started. It would have saved me a lot of unnecessary suffering. Thank you.